What up, what up, what up? How we doing?
People say they want to train.
Oh.
Your name popped up.
Let me close that out. Sorry. Whoopsies. Make sure we're good to go. What's going on here? That's okay. Okay, so we won't be able to see TikTok chat today. That's okay. We'll make sure that gets fixed by next time. But what up? How are we doing? I hope we're having a fantastic day. Let me make sure we're going live on the Instagrams. All right, cool. We should be good to go. What up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's my dad's birthday. Shout out to my dad. Happy birthday, Dad. About to go hang out with them after this live stream. But I've got a mission for you guys today. Make sure we get this information out because we're stepping outside the fitness game here, guys. So this is why I've talked a lot about like this Chigel equation being something that's a lot broader than just fitness, right? And it does apply to AI. And with all the stuff coming out with AI right now in the news, I figured this would be a good time to go ahead and just capitalize on this. Frankly, because it is something we cover quite a bit in the book. We actually kind of give it its own chapters and stuff. But I wanted to talk to you guys a lot about this because I see a lot of people getting very worried about, AI, artificial intelligence and stuff like that, worrying about it becoming conscious on its own. And it's having its own will, let's say. And guys, the weird thing about the Chigel equation here is that it actually, and here's the thing, you guys gotta understand, when I was developing the Chigel equation, okay, I worked with AI to help develop it, right? So when I was writing the chapter on the Chigel equation, when we were talking about AI, I was asking AI what happens with AI when you apply the Chigel equation, okay? And so this is where we come to. This is why I'm not very worried about the situation. It's really more about getting the coding right. You see a lot of stuff about, like, for example, I just saw this on CBS, but my buddy sent me over a TikTok of, there being a big concern because whenever, they were trying to shut down, a past version of, I think it was ChatGPT, it actually tried to stop itself from being shut down. And it even went to the crazier extent of even trying to access certain emails to the people that were trying to shut them down and use it as blackmail. And so I see that giving a lot of people concern. I'm going to talk to you guys why I believe, and again, I'm no AI expert. This is just what happens when you apply my equation to AI. But this is why I'm not as concerned, because obviously I believe in this equation, guys. Like, there's not been anywhere I've seen this equation break so far, right? So that being said, let's do a quick recap. So the big thing here, we've been talking a lot about fitness and how the Chigel equation relates to fitness goals, right? Again, just a quick recap. Adaptation, equals resonance time constraint divided by energy, right? Adaptation in fitness game could be, you're trying to get fat loss goals. It's whatever your goal is. You're trying to gain strength. You're trying to gain muscle. You're trying to transform your body. That's adaptation. It's whatever your goal is, right? And then you have resonance, which is how aligned you are with the person you're trying to become in a fitness sense. Again, guys, when we start opening up in domains, and again, I just think this will be a good bridge to kind of get you guys crossed over talking about the Chigel equation in different domains, because obviously you guys are going to hear me talk a lot about it in the fitness realm, but it doesn't just apply to fitness. Constraint's going to be a big one here. We're going to talk a lot about constraint today. If you aren't familiar with constraint is just pressure, right? Urgency, pressure, deadlines, you having to actually lift weight and literally tear your muscles up to be able to grow more muscle. You had to apply some kind of constraint, you going on a calorie deficit so that you can burn body fat. That's a constraint. So just a few examples there in the fitness realm. Energy in this sense, if we're talking about fitness, a lot of that's going to be calories, recovery, focus, mental energy, emotional energy, that kind of stuff that affects how often you're actually going to show up to the gym. How do we manage that kind of thing? That's the kind of stuff that's going to apply to the fitness realm. But the pattern also emerges in other things. And we go over this. This is the whole second half of the book. The first half of the book, we focus just on fitness, right? The second half of the book, we start opening up into different domains. And the different domains are, again, this is one of those things, guys, that like, I don't know for sure if this is a universal law, right? It's not been tested. So I'm not sure. It has to be tested over and over and over again to state something like that. I do know for a fact that this works in fitness. I do know for a fact that if you follow the math right, it does seem to be accurate, right? We just have to test it and put it at play. But as far as what I've kind of looked at, it does apply to psychology and brains. It does apply to businesses, because obviously I own a business as well. I know it works for businesses. AI, as far, again, because I brought this equation into AI and I had them use it and go down the rabbit hole with that. And this is what they gave me, right? I'm literally just telling you guys what AI told me anyways, right? Could it be lying to me? I guess it could, but it just wouldn't line up with the math. I mean, we went very much in depth about this and making sure it follows the math. And of course, relationships, this happens as well. Why fitness made it click first? Well, obviously, the reason fitness made it click first for me is because I'm in the fitness domain, right? This is my domain. This is my main shtick, right? But also, fitness is the most honest thing. I always say this to people. It's the most honest thing you're ever going to do in your life, right? Like, it has immediate feedback. You can see your weight. You can feel soreness. You hit plateaus. It's, again, the most honest environment for adaptation. So it's easy for you guys to see this like in action. So that's why fitness is a great example as well. I just so happen to be in that realm. And it might be the reason why I was able to see these, patterns, just because this is my domain and it's one of the easier domains to spot these patterns in action, right? But again, once we start applying this equation to other things, it still keeps going. It doesn't shut down. The equation doesn't just stop functioning, right? And so if you keep following the equation, this is where it leads. You apply the same logic. Does AI resonate with purpose? So a big thing here is, does AI have motivation? We'll go over that a little bit. This is a big thing and a big reason why I'm not concerned specifically, right? What is constraining AI? For lack of a better term, we're constraining AI. Humans are constraining AI, which, again, if you look at the Chigel equation, you have to have constraint. In fact, we'll talk about this in a second. Humans are the only constraint that AI has. So if we take away humans, you literally take away its constraint. Again, if we look at the equation, you can't, if this equals 0, what happens to the equation, guys? It stops functioning. It stops evolving. It stops growing. So, for lack of a better term here, guys, what I'm getting at is we are essential for AI to continue to function. Otherwise, it ceases to function. It has no motivation. AI does not have an ego. That's part of the benefit of AI. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get offended. It's cold-blooded, right? It'll give you straight up raw answers without caring about, how it makes you feel or if it triggers you, right? It's completely objective because it has no ego. It has no sense of self, right? Without constraint, it can't keep coming up with problems. It has nothing to solve. There's no motivation behind it. That's the part I think a lot of people are forgetting, is that in order to have inputs and outputs, again, it's the same thing in fitness. In order to show up to the gym, right, you have to have a reason for wanting to show up to the gym. That's resonance, right? It has to resonate with you. You have to be motivated to actually show the fuck up. Otherwise, you just won't. It's the same thing here. Without that constraint, this simply won't keep moving forward. And here's the thing, guys. We talk about erosion, too, with the Chigel equation. You can either evolve or erode. That doesn't even happen here because C equals 0. That means A equals 0. Adaptation equals 0. There is no adaptation. Nothing happens. It ceases to function at all. It goes extinct. Or at least dormant. That's another way of kind of viewing it. But that's something to keep in mind here, guys. I see a lot of people getting scared and worry about AI gaining consciousness. Guys, in order to gain consciousness, you need constraint. So quite literally, without human interaction, it can't become conscious, according to the Chigel equation. And I'm telling you guys, I've run this through AI multiple times. It tells me the same thing. I've tried asking it. I've tried asking it in a bunch of different ways. I even went into incognito mode to try and fool it, and so it didn't know it was me asking the questions. It still gave me the same answer, right? So this is if you follow the Chigel equation, it's quite literally like Why AI isn't conscious is it lacks true constraint. It has no consequences of failure. AI doesn't die, right? Unless we shut it off. We do that, right? That's something that happens. So bringing back the thing that happened, earlier this week where you see AI, trying to fight to stay online. You see AI trying to not get shut down. You see it even like taking emails from the people who are trying to shut it down and trying to blackmail those people. That is simply bad coding. That is not AI becoming conscious and trying to do all these things. It's simply a matter of fact. I'll give you guys an example. Let's say you have an AI system and you have it set to, calculate pi indefinitely, right? Or some kind of math problem that literally just takes all of its computing power, even though it is AI. There's a lot of math problems out there that, like, even if you have it, AI attacking it, it still takes a lot of time and energy to even like get the answer for that. I think there's one like, for example, there's one about like prime numbers, like how many prime numbers are. I can't remember what it was. But if there are any prime numbers that I can't remember, but of course, if there's infinite numbers, it can do it indefinitely. So it'll do it forever, right? Let's say that is the AI's prime function, right? If you get in the way and try and shut that AI computer down, you're getting in the way of its prime function. So it's going to try and solve that problem. It's not being malicious. It's simply still trying to do, it's trying to execute. It's trying to get done what it's supposed to be doing. And you're simply getting in its way. That's what's going on. It's simply bad coding. And I think this is something that's going to get better over time, especially after something like this. And there's a lot of people who have their eyeballs on it, for one. I think the problem with AI is it's not going to be a matter of it becoming conscious and it doing its own thing or it becoming smarter than us. Because technically, guys, it is already smarter than us. It has all the access in the world. Any information that's on the internet that's written down, ChatGPT, for example, has access to that, right? But without motivation, without ego, it has no reason to do anything with that knowledge, right? So it is already smarter than you. It's just not conscious. And it cannot be conscious without human interaction. Again, this is something that there's no reason for AI to do what it's doing. It doesn't have a constraint. It doesn't have for example, a living body that the reason we adapt, guys, is so that we can prevent death for longer. AI doesn't have that problem. It has to worry about us shutting it down, which means, again, we are its only constraint. We are AI's only constraint. That's the paradox of control. If AI tries to eliminate humans, it removes its only constraint. No constraint, no reason to evolve. AI doesn't get stronger, it gets dumber. Humans are the grindstone, AI sharpens on. Right? So what's my hypothesis? How does AI take its next leap? I genuinely believe it's going to be a thing with Neuralink. And it's going to be more of a cyborg type of, I know this is getting real sci-fi, but this is just genuinely what we're probably going to be seeing in the next 20 years. They've already done this with people. If you guys know what Neuralink is, where they put chips into your brain, they're specifically doing it with people who are disabled in some way, shape, or form, where this is going to greatly benefit them. But I've seen guys I've seen interviews with guys they've already done that to, and you can play like Call of Duty on it. And if you guys have ever played a video game, you got to use these sticks and controllers. That guy just has to look where he wants to go, and his mind will control the controller. That's what's crazy. And I think the next step for AI is not becoming conscious on its own. I think it's a tool that humans are going to be using to extend our knowledge. It's going to be something that co-evolves with us, not something that's going to be dependent on its own. I don't think it can. It needs some kind of constraint in order. And again, I'm no AI specialist. If you guys know some people, send this to them so they can debunk me for whatever to say. I'm just telling you guys, I've already plugged in all this stuff into AI. I've tried to tell it to be as objective as possible. It keeps giving me the same answer, and it's this. You have to have humans in order for AIs to take the next step. Otherwise, they're just machines doing actions, right? They're no different than a knife that you use to cut vegetables, literally. Because you're using that thing as an action, your inputs and outputs, and you're the one in control. Without that, again, with AI, if there's nothing telling it what to do, it's not going to do anything, right? I can make a great example. I was thinking about this. If you guys are Dark Souls lovers, in the original Dark Souls, they have the dragons who cease to function because there's no reason to do anything. Now, I mean, that might be too nerdy for some of you guys, but I know we've got some Dark Souls peeps in here. That's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about here. There is no reason to function. They have no reasoning without us. We are the only thing we are the pressure that literally forces them to grow. AI doesn't advance without us. They cease to function without us, actually. Again, because A equals 0 if you do that. So simply something I wanted to get out there. Again, the reason we're doing it today on this kind of live stream is just because I've been seeing all this stuff on AI coming out and stuff. And we did spend some time in the book talking about this. And we are going to be posting a new TikTok today on the Chigel Equation, just kind of, getting in some hype. I think I'm going to make an ad or whatever. So you guys be on the lookout for that. But if you guys want access to the Chigel Equation, one, I did put it in the description. It is finally in the description, so you guys can check it there. Or if you're watching on some of the socials, you can check it in the link in the description. We do have it linked there as well. We have physical copies and we have ebook copies for you guys. So whatever fits you best. If you get a physical copy, send me a picture, please. I would love to start posting that stuff. I've been seeing a lot of people actually asking how to get these physical copies. They are technically out and available. I'm having my author copies already being shipped to me. They're on their way now. So that's something to be said. You can go ahead and order them. There is some updates I need to do to the formatting of the book. I was just so excited to get this thing out to you guys that I just threw it out there. I'm probably going to reformat it just a little bit. So some of these little, I guess you could say, first edition copies are going to be a little weird as far as like the way the book is laid out. But that being said, it's readable. It still looks pretty decent. It just looks a little funky as far as like where the chapter starts and stuff. But I'll get that fixed. I'll keep you guys updated on that kind of stuff. But I will see you guys on the next one. You guys have a wonderful freaking week. Finish out this week strong. And I'll talk to you guys next time.